discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/BGUnlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Imperial Settlers Roll and Write, which, incidentally, is actually a game that I prefer to play solo. So there's a couple interesting things also about this. This was my very first roll and write kind of game. They've always just been something that I've kind of stayed away from because they never seemed interesting really in any way. Just because you kind of have okay, I'll roll this and then I'll just kind of mark this stuff, and there didn't ever really seem to be a whole lot of meat to it. But I will say, from a first-time roll and write player, this wasn't bad. Like this was actually kind of fun, and I mainly got this game because it is Imperial Settlers, and I really, really like that game as a kind of an engine building, card, it's card laying, tableau building, and I really like the different factions in that for Imperial Settlers. So I was like, how does this, stack up to the card game? And I mean, it doesn't, but I don't think it's meant to. Like, this game isn't meant to compete with Imperial Settlers just because that game's been out, one, longer, and two, has a lot more combinations of things to do than a roll and write game. Now, with that being said, whenever I got this game and I first played it, I was like, oh, really, that's it? Because they have the regular mode. Then they have the advanced rules, and the advanced rules actually made it a lot better. The basic one, where you don't have to build like settlements, you don't have to look at the different like shapes that these make to increase these to make them better, that is very boring. Like, it is like, you're just literally rolling dice and just kind of marking stuff. You're not doing anything. But when you add in making these buildings and then actually like circling out, like, okay, well, I really want to get the primeval forest of fire, so I'm getting a bunch of wood. It's like, okay, but that's going to go here, and so I have to go for, at least if I want to build it up at the top left, I have to get 2 stone and 4 wood, and then I can build that to build my primeval forest. That'll make but if I put it here, so it just adds a lot more strategy to the game. So I really like it with the advanced rules, which personally I don't feel like they're really that advanced either. Like, this game it's not the heaviest game in the world, and once again, it's not meant to be. The regular Imperial Settlers with the cards does have that, and it has a very much cutthroat nature as well, because there's other players there, you're attacking each other, you're defending yourself, you're using card abilities to mess with other people or benefit yourself. So there's a lot more going on in the card game. Now, that's the last time I hope I'm going to talk about the card game, because we're here to talk about the roll and write. So, with the advanced rules, you have the different shapes, and it's like, well, Dark Chapel, I can roll 1 fewer die to gain. And, like, at the beginning, Dark Chapel doesn't seem that good. It's like, to gain 1 extra, which would have been super helpful with the last roll I got. But it's like, oh, but if I build that again, then now it's 2. Now I get 2 extra actions. That's kind of nice. So I roll 2 dice, and then, oh, okay, well, I got a food and a wood, but now, and I rolled up a 3, now I have 5 actions. And if I do it again, then I'll get 6, then I'll get +3, still only for 1 less die. So there's definitely buildings and stuff that you would be building that aren't good at first, but if you keep building more and more, then they become really good, because you also have these tiles that help. So it's like, well, 3 dice is really good, but it's like, if I can roll all 3 of these and get, oh, there's a 4, and I got 2 wood, and I'm getting 5 actions, boom, I'm just going to do this, and then, or 4 and I get +3, now I have 7 actions. Okay, well, what can I do with 2 wood? Okay, well, I have 7 actions, so I'll just harvest a shit ton, and then I'll just bump up all the way on wood and deal with that. So once you add the advanced rules to build settlements, then this game explodes with strategy. And then you also, now, because this game isn't perfect, at least, well, for my personal taste, because there are some on here where it's like, okay, well, that's not that good, but, well, actually, yeah, because then you start thinking about how you're going to build it, and you can try and finagle, like, different settlements around each other. Like, for example, the Sentry Tower looks like the T Tetris piece. It's essentially Tetris, like with the settlement building, but that can be built around a dark chapel. So you can upgrade you can harvest two different resources to gain more points. So if you can build the Sentry Tower and the Dark Chapel, and you're getting a bunch of extra actions from the Dark Chapel, then you can harvest those resources without wasting really anything, and still use those resources, even though you're rolling one less die, to harvest them and gain more points. I should have done that. Like, I didn't even think of it. So, even with just this one sheet, like, there was a lot of strategy behind it, and I was just thinking, oh, I'll just get more and more resources, which still worked out. 64 points in Booty Bill is not terrible. Now, here's the thing. The game that I played the solo variant. This, in my opinion, I think the game is way better solo than with anyone else, like with other people, because the game is essentially a solitaire game anyway. Like, the only competitive nature of the game is, okay, well, I'm first player, so I get to pick which boon tile I want, so you don't get that. But they're all good. So, like, this game isn't cutthroat in any way. You don't steal resources from everyone. These dice work for everyone. So whatever I roll, everyone gets 4 actions. Everyone has 2 gold, and everyone has, a food or whatever the result is. So it's not like, oh, well, I'm going to use this gold, so you don't get that, and you're going to use the food. No, everyone has these available. Something I kind of wish that they did, instead of a universal, like, have a universal action die, but I don't like, because it can get kind of confusing. So you roll these dice, and then especially whenever your buildings are going off, they're just like, then you're like, okay, so I have 5 food and 3 and 2 gold, and I have 17 actions. It's like, there's a lot of numbers that you're trying to sit there and like, okay, so, and I guess you could write separately, but there's really no room on your sheet or on anything else, so you're like, okay, so I have 5 food because my welcoming party adds 3 to that, and then I have the 2, oh, my Dark Chapel gives me 3 more actions, so I have 7 actions and 5 food. Okay, so I need to 1, 2, crap, how many, there's just a lot of, like, things to keep track of where there's really nowhere to really manage it. That hasn't come up a lot in my time playing this game, but it has come up where I had to sit there and be like, okay, what did I just do? Then I have to kind of go back and remember what I did on my turn. I mean, it's a minor complaint, but in a game where, one, the pencils don't have erasers, so you can't be like, oh, I didn't mean to put that there. I mean, you easily just get another pencil, but it's just kind of annoying to sit there and manage what all resources you have, because it's not, they're not anywhere displayed except in your head. But other than that, that's pretty much kind of the only negative I have. Like, the game is solid, and the other reason why I like it solo is because in other, like, this pile of the adventure things aren't used in anything but the solo game. So everyone has the same village sheet, everyone has the same buildings to go for, so there's not a lot of options. Like, it gets very stale after I would say even a couple plays with the advanced rules, because it's like, well, I mean, yeah, you're at the whim of what the dice come out, but there's also only 5, tiles. What are they called? Favor tokens. There's only 5 of these in the game, so there's not a lot of variety when it comes to that. Then, it's not like everyone gets their own dice, so everything's kind of the same, and everything's just kind of blah after a few plays. But the adventure sheet, like, there's 48 different, like, sheets. So, like, this first one had a sentry tower, and, like, had welcoming party and an arch enemy in the temple. Like, this, like, the next one, Adventure 2, has a flea market with, if each resource die shows a different result, you gain 3 points. Like, Food Festival, gain 2 points for each fully harvested field, which is endgame stuff. Reroll any resource die 1 time. The Quarry, gain 1 stone. Carpenter's Workshop is about wood, and then the castle you need a cross to get 7 points. So it's already just different, and you have 48 different sheets for stuff like that, and it's like I want this in the competitive game. Like in the competitive card game, everyone has their own faction, so like you have a uniqueness to it. In this, no one has a uniqueness. I mean, yeah, it's kind of how they decide to use their resource, but ultimately it's the same. But with that being said, each game I've played, the scores were always very, very close. So it's not unbalanced by any means. Like, I think one game, I think both games I played was in a 2-player game, but it was like 4 or 5 points difference, and we both kind of did a different strategy. But yeah, just having this variety would be really cool. And I'm sure they might add factions to this. I don't know how they would. Like, it'd be kind of weird. But then they'd kind of be delving into the territory of, like, why would I play this whenever I could play the card game if you're making it so kind of like the card game, but a roll and write. So they probably won't do anything. And even then, it's like, well, I've done this one, so I can't really go back and... I guess I could erase it all. But that's kind of annoying. But it'd be really neat to kind of see, okay, well, I paired this one, I can peel this off now. And just kind of, like, attach it to this. I'm never going to keep all these, but it's like, oh, with this combination, I got 64 points. So now that's my goal to beat with this one. Each time I play. And the game is really, really short. It says 30 minutes. Yeah, like, it's a very, very quick game. But I mean, other than that, like, it's not bad by any means. I wasn't really sure what to expect with the Imperial Settlers roll and write. It doesn't feel like Imperial Settlers. No. Like, not really. It's definitely, yeah, it has the same resources and the gold and stuff. And, I mean, the artwork is still adorable as hell. I've always loved their little mini people artwork. But it just doesn't have the same vibe. It doesn't have the same... oh man, okay, well I can go and attack and destroy that, and because even in Imperial Settlers, like, all your faction cards were safe unless you were the Japanese faction, but all your common ones could be destroyed. But then they had expansions where it's like, oh hey, we can utilize each other. I'll give you a couple workers for that food that I really need. So it wasn't ever mean. Well, the Egyptian cards are actually kind of mean. Some factions are very, very mean, but ultimately the overall feel of the game was kind of like, oh yeah, I'll attack you, but I'm going to destroy that. You get at least some wood, and I get stuff out of it. But this game is nothing like the card game. For me, it doesn't replace the card game at all, but for a roll and write, I'm keeping it. Like, it's still a lot of fun. And if you don't want to play, because the card game can also be kind of long, at least longer than this. So if you just want a feel of Imperial Settlers, then maybe this will do it for you. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I'm going to give this a 6. Yeah. Even though the solo mode is a lot of fun, and maybe after more plays, but even then, I still don't like the fact that I kind of can't really go back. 48 plays, or 48 different adventure sheets that are different, that's still awesome. But it's like, I want to be able to have this with everyone else. The great thing about the card game is just the different variety and strategies that everyone gets to implement. And you don't really have a whole lot of variety here. But I think a 6, it's a little bit above average. Which is still good, but it's not going to crack open that 7. It definitely 8. Maybe with expansions, but I can't really see a route that they could go with the expansion. And I don't really see myself wanting to play this with other people. Like, I think this feels better as a solo game just because that adventure sheet. That's a weird thing to do. That's a weird thing to give the adventure sheet more variety, but not the competitive play mode, I guess. Huh. I don't know. But that's my thoughts on Imperial Settlers, the roll and write. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.